Okay, so today's session is going to be very, hopefully as you noticed by the email, very different from our normal hardcore marketing content stuff. So almost everybody here attended the 80-20 marketing workshop we did a few months ago? Yes, almost everybody. Okay, so that book was written by Perry Marshall, one of my mentors. And Perry started working on 80-20 about 10 years ago. And he was trying to figure out a calculus formula that would calculate 80-20 for you. So that was the website I showed you, where you went and you punched in how many sales you had and how many customers you had, and it calculated out how many would pay X more. And it did the chart and the graph. So that was the calculus 80-20 formula that he figured out. And when he was trying to figure it out 10 years ago, and this is how this session came to be, he couldn't figure it out. He was struggling with it, working on it. And he decided one day, you know what, I'm just going to go to church. But he didn't go to the church that he goes to with his wife and his kids every week. He just randomly went to a different church he had never been to before. He felt like, I just need to go in this church. So he goes in the church and he hides in the back because it's a new church. He's never been there, doesn't know anybody. And church service is happening. Church service is over and people are mingling. This woman he's never met walks up to him, taps him on the shoulder and says, God gave me a message for you. God told me you're trying to figure out some type of mathematical formula. And I want you to know, God says you're going to figure it out. It's going to make millions of dollars. You're going to help a whole lot of people with this formula. And God's going to help you figure it out because you're going to use the proceeds to help support mission trips in Africa. And turned around and walked away. So Perry's jaw was on the floor. He told me it took him about 15 minutes to stop crying, enough to get in the car and drive home and tell his wife what had happened, because he had never been to the church before, never met the woman before, and wasn't famous at the time. So that started Perry's spiritual journey of, how did that just happen? What is going on here? What is this all about? Because his brother-in-law had just come back from a mission trip in Africa where they were building an orphanage and Perry wanted to support it. And this formula turned into the money to build tons of them. And obviously, lots of other products and services. So he teaches a concept. His journey turned into a 3-day seminar on how to empty your financial head trash. Because what he realized was, and it's a concept I had heard before from Tony Robbins, is your business grows as fast as you do. Excuse me. So if you are stuck, if you have a plateau, if there are issues, they are most likely not business issues. It is more likely a question of how you are growing as a person in your personal development that is causing it. You have beliefs inside your head you don't realize that are creating the stuck or the plateau. So today is all about figuring out what those beliefs are that are limiting you, getting rid of them, and watching your life change. So we need to set a couple ground rules. First of all, this needs to be a supportive, safe environment. So no negativity, no judging what comes up. It also needs to be confidential. So if Carrie realizes something profoundly spiritual and she wants to share it with her best friend, that's okay. But it's not okay for Arden to go tell her friend what happened to Carrie, unless she asks Carrie if it's okay if she shares. Is that fair? Okay. Also, don't censor yourself. If you receive something or someone tells you something and it makes no sense to you right now, write it down anyway, because it's supposed to be told to you and it will make sense to you later. Can we all agree on all of that? Okay. All right, so I want to share with you a couple quick stories before we dive in. There is a donkey, there is a lion, and there is a fox. The lion kills 30 rabbits. The lion goes to the donkey and says, why don't you sort out the rabbits for the 3 of us to eat? The donkey says, okay, there's 3 of us, there's 30 rabbits. He puts the rabbits in 3 piles of 10. And he says, I've sorted them all. Here you go. The lion eats the donkey. The lion goes to the fox and says, why don't you sort all of the rabbits for us to eat? The fox puts 29 rabbits in one pile, puts 1 rabbit in another pile, and he says, here you go, Mr. Lion, 29 rabbits is your pile. And the lion says, you're so smart. How did you learn that? And the fox says, I learned from watching the donkey. So a lot of our limiting beliefs were put there by somebody else acting as the lion. We learn by watching the wrong people. And we're going to figure out whether it was mother, father, teacher, preacher, TV. We're going to identify the source of those limiting beliefs so that we can get rid of them. This was a story I read in a book that I was reading to my daughter, Ella, who many of you know, that happened during the Great Depression. And this little girl goes to a dime store, 5 and dime store, with her mother, and they're shopping for things, and she sees a pink box with pink taffeta lining it and a strand of toy pearls in it. Oh, mommy, 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 can I have the pearl necklace? Can I have the pearl necklace? Well, let's see how much it is. I'm sorry, honey, it's $2. We don't have $2 right now. But you have a birthday coming up, and grandma usually gives you $1. If she's got money, you'll get $1. Maybe you could find a way to make the other $1, but I can't afford to buy this for you. So the girl cries, very upset, but they go home. So she does extra chores in her house. She goes to other apartments in their apartment building, knocks on doors. Can I do chores for you? And she does chores all month long. Grandma gives her $1. She's got $2. She goes to the store. She buys the pearls. She's so excited. They're her favorite thing in the world. She wears them morning, noon, and night. She sleeps with them. She will never take them off. The tradition is that her father reads her a story every night before bed and tucks her in. About a week after her birthday, he's reading the story, and he says, honey, can I have your pearls? She says, no, Daddy. You can't have my pearls. They're the most precious thing to me in the world. You can have my favorite teddy bear, but please don't make me give you my pearls. He says, okay. Comes back the next day, reads her story, puts her to bed. Another week goes by. She says, honey, I need you to give me your pearls. She says, no. You can have the doll that Nana got me for my birthday, but please don't make me give you my pearls. He says, okay. A couple more weeks go by. He comes in to tuck her in, and she's sitting on her bed crying. And he says, why are you crying, sweetie? And she holds out her little fist, opens it up, and in it are her pearls. She says, here you go, Daddy. He takes her pearls. He leaves her room. She's sitting on the bed crying. He comes back 2 minutes later with a black velvet box that she opens to find a real pearl necklace, which is, of course, her new favorite thing in the world. So, without realizing it, we've got a whole bunch of dime store crap in our heads, and we need to get rid of it so we can get the real pearls in there. Does that make sense? Okay. So the first thing I need you to do is rip out a piece of paper. And I have gone through this process, and it's been incredibly beneficial to me, but I'm going to do it again to participate with all of you as well, because I don't think it's something you should just do once, because you will uncover new stuff every time. So you're going to rip out a piece of paper. If you don't have paper, let me know. You're going to fold it in half. And now you're all messy from the fabulous food. And fold it into fourths. So half one way, half the other way. Remember, no censoring yourself. If it doesn't make sense, write it down anyway.
Is this going to be bigger?
Sure.
I'll take one.
You'll take a big sheet of paper. All right. You're going to open it up. And at the intersection of the creases in the middle, you're going to print your name. It has to be legible.
In the middle?
In the middle. So, yes, Arden?
Can I have a pen?
Can you have a pen? Do we have any?
I have one.
Yes, you can. Then when you print your name, you're going to fold it back up. And you're going to pass it in the middle to where Kristen is.
Oh, jeez. Wait, so we just wrote our name and then...
Well, write your name, fold it back up, pass it to the middle.
Sorry.
Bill still lives.
Well, I got grease on the thing so it doesn't break for crack.
It's a technical term. I'm going to fold whoever this is so you can't see their name. Sorry, I didn't make that clear.
So.
Silly Seth. Can you, well, you know what? I will mix these up. What? Okay, so I am mixing these up, and I'm going to repass them out. Do not open it. No opening it.
You forgot. Did you get Gary? Yeah, you forgot Gary.
I forgot Gary.
Jeez. Thank you.
And this one, I guess, would be mine. Okay, so what we're going to do now, like I said in the email, it doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter what God you pray to, as long as you believe in something bigger than yourself. So what I want you to do is we are all going to pray. So repeat after me. God, please give me a message for this person. Message for this person. Make that message what they need to hear. Now what you're going to do is you're going to start writing on that piece of paper. Don't think, just write until you feel the need to stop. Don't open it so you don't know who they are.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
Just write. Whatever comes in your head.
Okay. So can we like open it so that?
You can open it enough if you need room to write, but you cannot see who they are.
Okay.
Just write whatever comes into your head. Doesn't matter if it makes any sense or not.
He's throwing blanks at me.
When you're done, pass them back this way. Don't open it.
I don't think I need that. Only left people in there. Things like that. I love it.
Like I said, this is not our normal marketing content, and I'm taking a leap outside my comfort zone to do this. Mickey's still writing. No rush. Take your time. Okay, so before you get the message that whoever wrote for you, any thoughts on what that was like?
It was cool. I agree. Weird and cool. like it's internal, like special.
I'm not reading what was written. I'm just opening for the names. This is for Bruce. Victoria. Now this is where it gets very interesting.
Yes. Is that what it's called? Yes. I said the wrong thing, but I
Gary?
knew that's what it was. Are we allowed to write? Or read?
Yes. Kristen W.
Oh, that's so
I don't know who wrote this.
Erica.
Me too.
Oh, I love this. Well then.
Is there water someplace that I didn't see?
Is there water someplace?
I wrote for your wifey.
Okay, there might be a water.
What?
I wrote for your wifey. Isn't it funny?
That is Zach.
You already knew that.
No, I didn't.
Me.
Oh my god. This person, like,
That's actually
weird.
weird.
Yeah.
Mickey.
I
Yeah,
can't
you're
remember
gonna
what I
cry.
did.
Here.
I'll read you, but read that.
That's weird. Oh. Who wrote that? That's pretty awesome.
Hmm?
I want to know who I had.
I know. Are we allowed to know who wrote it?
That's up to all of you, but I would.
Can I know who wrote this? Oh, that was me. Okay.
But obviously that person didn't know who they were writing for. So the message didn't come from them.
Our dad's having neck surgery on Tuesday. So, it kind of hit home.
What did you write?
I don't even remember.
See?
She wrote, "Everything takes time. You have shed many tears, but only you know how to fix what is wrong. I'm making you fully capable to handle any situation. Time is no longer your burden."
Wow. Did anybody else just get goosebumps?
Our dog also died last week.
Oh.
That was weird.
Next piece of paper. This is something at this workshop that I learned to now do every day, every morning when I wake up. before the kids and my wife get up, but we're going to do this now. So here is what you're going to write. God at the top of the paper, or universe, or whoever. Direct me in my thinking. Show me your will for me today, and it's on the PowerPoint, and give me the power to carry it out. But you're going to write the answer with your other hand. So you're writing right now with your normal hand that you write with. When you write the answer, remember, don't think, just write, but write with your opposite hand.
Yeah, I'm doing this with my left hand to start. Just being a smart aleck.
And I applaud you for your smart aleckness.
So wait, we're supposed to write
With the opposite hand.
whatever's.
Whatever comes to you. What's it like writing with your opposite hand?
Difficult. It's a lot of work.
Like, think more about it.
Hey Seth, I couldn't get his name out of my head when I was writing that, and he got it.
That's pretty crazy. And you obviously didn't look at the paper. You didn't know who you were writing for. Next exercise.
So weird.
Write what you are proud of. You can write with your normal hand.
Same sheet.
Should we write that?
Yes, write, Lord, help us see what's behind us, and then write what you are proud of.
Same sheet.
Yeah, it can be the same sheet.
Should write with the opposite hand again?
Normal hand. That was the only opposite hand drill. If you feel like you need to write with the opposite hand, go right ahead. Mickey, how are you feeling right now?
Strange.
I don't know why I felt to ask you that, but
Really strange and awkward, and it's like hard to explain. Because I don't know if I'm doing this right, but then I think I'm at school again, so I'm like, oh wait, I have to write this down.
there is no right answer.
Well, see, that's the problem. Well, good and bad.
And next exercise. If you had $1 million, tax-free, no strings attached, what would you do with it? Right. Pencils down. I'll use this.
That was a lot of time.
How many did you write, Megan?
2 things.
2 things.
Well, I wrote that whole sentence out.
Okay. Anybody write more than 2? How many?
4.
4? Carrie? Gary? 4? Mickey?
4.
Bill?
I was 4.
So the exercise you're going to do at home is you're going to write 100. So write down that you're going to you have homework, by the way. Write down, maybe on a separate sheet of paper labeled homework, write down 100 dreams that you could do with $1 million.
Different than what we just did, because it wasn't what we could do with it, it's what we would do with it, right?
Right. And there's a new show on CNBC called The Filthy Rich Guide, if any of you need more inspiration. Okay, so now that we're all feeling strange, we're going to go a little bit deeper. So quick prayer before we move forward. God, I hand to you the fear that you aren't going to say something good to me. So what you're going to do is you're going to write down, God, what lies am I believing about you? And write. Don't think, just write. Anybody get any interesting lies they're believing about God? Yes, Gary.
You go first.
This is one I've believed for a while, that he doesn't want us to be anything more than month to month, comfortable, grounded. So that kind of lifestyle.
It's funny how this is you don't want us as good people to have money.
Wow.
Really? Well, if you believe that.
Which I know is totally not true, by the way.
But it's still there.
Yeah.
What came to me was that sometimes you forget about me. So now, write down next to each lie who taught it to you. Because they were all learned from somewhere.
I don't think what I think is God related, because I really think I have a pretty strong relationship with God. So I got to take the God piece out of it in order for me to come up with stuff that slows me down.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a lie that Satan wants you to believe, that you need to take God out of it?
No,
No?
no.
I guess I don't understand, but
Because I think I have a pretty.
Yeah.
I see God as a very warm and friendly, and he's there to take care of you, not to punish you. So
wrote
I
down
don't
the
see.
same thing.
I don't think my.
You and Erica wrote down the same lie?
Yeah.
Do you mind?
Said that I learned it from her.
From you?
No, I wrote down that bad things happen to good people, and I said I learned it from her because of her appendix and that whole thing that happened.
So now you're going to say this to yourself, but for each person, well, before we do this, you don't have to share what the lie was, but where were some of the places that you learned them from?
I learned that, the lie is that God doesn't exist. And whoever higher power is, that it's not there, it's a lie. You just gotta fend for yourself. And I don't think I've ever believed that. But my friends and family and like things that are close to me have all this stuff that happens, and they're like, well, it's my fault, kind of thing. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
Makes total sense. I can remember when I was a teenager trying to have a spiritual conversation with my mother and her telling me, well, we're just flies on the windshield of life.
mine came from a strict Baptist upbringing, that, you weren't allowed to have extravagant things and you should live modestly, and
And then I would ask, whose definition of extravagant?
That's true.
Because everybody has different perspectives.
Very true.
So, to yourself, or out loud, however you want to do it, I choose to forgive my mother for teaching me this lie, and I hand to you, God, this lie I have believed about you. So you can write it.
Am I allowed to do this about somebody aside from God, or does it have to be about God?
You can do whatever you want.
Just checking.
He's not playing God.
No, not my job.
Is this Perry Marshall's exercise then? You came up with?
He did not. Perry found a ministry that specifically deals with this, and those people do this workshop. Well, this isn't 3 days, but those people do these workshops. And if you want further resources at the end of this, they do individual ministering sessions about this, both in person and via Skype, because there's nobody in Buffalo.
Before we go on, I just have to say I hit an unexpected moment with what we were doing here. When we were doing the write with your left hand thing, I wrote something and it looks like my dad's writing, because at the end he had like no hand strength and the shaky hand and everything. So whatever he wrote, and I literally was sitting here crying because I looked at it and I said, that's Dad's writing.
Maybe he's the one doing the writing.
Could be. I wrote "Believe in Yourself," and I just looked at it, just started crying.
Bruce, you're gonna make me cry.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So now, write, what truth do you want me to know? And then don't think, just write. Some of the ones I got were some of the truths that I'm supposed to know are that I am good enough, I am unique, I am important. Anybody else?
I wrote, it's okay.
But we are not given anything more than we can handle.
I wrote, "There's a plan for us."
I missed it.
Because you were.
Okay.
Would you like to share some of your truths?
No.
No.
For sure.
That's probably why.
In a good way.
That's a great laugh. There's a lot of message in the laugh.
He'll hear it later.
All right, so now you're going to number 1 through 10.
No, not at all.
And at the top, before the 1, you're going to write God. What lies am I believing about myself? Fill in the blanks.
Fill in the blanks.
The 1 through 10.
I need like a notebook.
I can.
You know me wrong. Stop it.
So now you're going to take your list of lies. You're going to fold it up. And you're going to stand up.
Oh, that's true. This is true.
And hold it over your head.
I have to stand up.
You have to stand up, yes.
I'm not done.
All right, well,
Came from your wife's idea. Okay.
God, I have believed these lies, and they have shaped who I am. I repent these lies. As I hand these lies to you, I put them under my feet. Put them under your feet. Step on them. These lies will not rule me anymore. I will not believe these lies as truths. I will believe that from this day forward, I will be free of these lies, even when I hear the voices telling me those same lies. For the first time in my life, I am not going to believe their lies as truth, no matter how loud the enemy shouts at me. And no matter how many people agree with those lies, I will not believe them, because it's not who you created me to be. It's not my purpose, it's not my identity, and I break it in your name. Now pick it up and rip it up. And you can sit. And if you would like to write more later and do this again, these slides and video are available to you. Oh, shoot, I forgot paper clips. Never mind. All right, so you're imagining that you have a paper clip, and you're going to unbend the paper clip into one straight line, and then you're going to bend it back and forth until it breaks, And you're going to say, I am good enough, I am significant, I am made by a God who thinks I'm amazing. Forgot the paper clips, I'm sorry. I will repent that later. So money exaggerates what's in our hearts. This is again your writing. What positive signs have you received where you have been a good steward over money? You don't have to write the words, you just have to write whatever you get.
What does that mean?
What positive signs have you received where you were good with money? What have you now been made aware of that needs improvement? What are the areas of your life in which you have hardened your heart? You can recognize the seeds that are planted in you by the fruits you are producing. So if it is not serving you, sever the root. That is a biblical quote that I liked. Does everybody know what a black swan is? Okay, so there is a very famous book called Black Swan, and it was originally based on the financial crisis of 2008 as being something that we thought was unpredictable. But the saying black swan came because for many years, people had only seen white swans, and people just thought swans were white. All swans were white. Until the first boat landed in Australia was discovered, and they found a black swan. And then all of the, swanologists, whatever the term is, had to completely change their viewpoint. It's like finding out the earth isn't flat. So this prayer is, God, your natural displays are black swans in my life. I ask that you would introduce your natural displays in my life, and I would learn to first see them and then seize them. I would embrace your supernatural lifestyle from this point forward. Make me into a supernatural steward and a prosperous soul. So now you are going to write, God, show me how to apply the rules of success to my life, that you might call me successful, and then just write. This is a quote from Ephesians 3:20. Now to him who is able to do far more abundantly beyond all that we ask or think, according to the power that works within us. Imagine this verse manifesting in your life and ask God to give you a prophetic picture of what that might mean, and write. What might that look like in your life? Father God, I understand that money is power, and power exaggerates whatever is in my heart. I ask you to aggressively correct my perspective on money and power so that I can be found faithful by you. I ask for your provision as you see fit for me to steward. I ask you to show me your mysteries that I might bring you glory. May you be exaggerated in my heart. Amen. And write. Place your hand on your head and declare, I am a prosperous soul. Prosperous soul. Ask God to show you the steps to correct any of your own private troubles with money. So these are some exercises that you can do at home that came from this seminar that I have been doing that have had a significant impact for me. One is try resting for an hour. Start with 15 minutes. Work your way up. But rest means literally you're not allowed to do anything. No TV, no phone, no writing anything down if you get ideas. And this was really hard for me because as soon as the kids are asleep and I just sit and I start to relax, all of the ideas start coming. So the hard part for me was not running to write them all down and letting them go and just learning to totally stop doing. And when I started doing that, the ideas that were all came back later. But it's amazing how much more peaceful you are, how much happier you are, and how much more productive you become when you are working, when you can try and shut it off. And it takes practice. So that's an...
That might be called meditation.
Yes, it could be. Yes, it could be called meditation. That's homework assignment number 2. This is something that we have tested in our office. Have somebody else check your email, print out the ones you need to respond to, and then tell you what the email says, and you tell them what to send back.
Yeah, why?
Because here is the problem. When you are sitting in front of your email, you are at the mercy of whoever sends you email. And everything looks like a crisis, and you want to respond to everything right away, and you're not necessarily in the best state to respond when you do respond. And your every email is a different chain of thought. So your productivity is completely stopped because you're responding to email 1, and then you have to switch your mind to subject of email 2. So there's a cartoon that I've mentioned before where it says, guys, if you want to understand what goes on inside a woman's head, imagine an internet browser with 4,323 tabs open all the time. So that's the same thing in front of your email, depending on how many you get a day, they're all different tabs. So you can't possibly really do a good job on any of them if you're looking at all of them at the same time. Something that has really helped me was I deleted my email accounts from my phone. I can no longer respond to email on my phone, which means I'm also no longer checking it on my phone at home 7 times in one night, which has significantly increased my happiness level. Because the interesting thing is anything that I would have seen, I would have responded to, and the interesting thing is all of those things that would have been a crisis, none of them have been crises the next day. Nothing bad happened that they didn't get a response till the next morning. And it has made me much more present, which is very helpful. This is really good. I have had trouble not just stopping thinking about work. So this is an exercise called squeezing the sponge. So at the end of every day, I now take 30 minutes with my phone off and my email off, and I write down anything that comes to my head. I have a binder now that has a page for every single client we've got. And I will flip through each page for 30 minutes and write, oh, do I need to do anything for this person? Do I need to think anything about this project? And get it out of my head. Because then when I come home, I'm not thinking about it anymore. Whereas I used to come home and all of those ideas would come to me and I would think of all of those things and I wouldn't be paying attention to my children or my wife as much as I should have been because I was always thinking about work. Which if you came to this session a few months ago where Rebecca and I were interviewed together, that was one of her complaints. And this has helped dramatically fix it, at least in my opinion. And the last couple ones, homework assignment, when you go home, make a list of the things you hate, and then figure out how to get rid of them.
Because you're like, it's funny. Leave that slide up there for a second. Wait,
Yes.
because I need to write that down.
Make a list of the things you hate, take 30 minutes, dump it all out, and then go through the list, start with the top 3, and figure out how do I get this out of my life. Can I outsource it? Can I take the painting off of the wall? Can I get rid of it and just stop it? Can I reinvent my industry so that this doesn't exist anymore?